Nematodes can offer several advantages in soil. They play a crucial role in nutrient cycling, insect and pest control, and can even suppress plant parasitic nematodes.
Nematodes themselves are tiny worm-like creatures that live in the soil, and the vast majority of nematodes are actually beneficial. They play a really important role in soil biology, in converting nitrogen into plant available form and all those good things that happen in the soil.
Nematodes are part of every turf root zone, but plant parasitic nematodes can cause significant damage feeding on turf grass roots. Plant parasitic nematodes feed on turf grass by using a needle-like structure called a stylet to pierce plant cells and raid their nutrients.
There's just a small group of nematodes that we call plant parasites, and they're the ones that we're really concerned about in terms of the effect that they have on turf grass, because they feed on the turf root system and can damage the root system to varying degrees, and that's when they become a problem.
In Australian turf, it's a few key nematode species doing the damage, and one in particular stands out.
So out of that group of plant parasitic nematodes, there's about a dozen that we see in turf that are different species, different types of nematodes that we see in turf grass, and they affect the turf to varying degrees. So some of them are very damaging, and then there's others that can exist in high numbers and don't seem to cause problems.
Southern sting nematode is by far the most damaging nematode pest of turf grass in Australia.
The sting nematode, by far the most damaging nematode on turf grasses, and cool season and warm season grasses, it's not fussy, it affects them both. And aside from that one, there's another bad nematode called the needle nematode, very large nematode that is also quite destructive, but thankfully is quite rare. We don't tend to see that one as much. But probably the most commonly occurring nematode across the country that we see and that can cause problems would be the stubby root nematode. That when that gets to high populations, it can affect the turf.
The sting nematode has caused widespread damage in the US, but the Australian variant is different, a separate species with a different story.
The sting nematode in the US is a native nematode to that region. That's Belonolamus longicordatus. The researchers have used DNA technology to prove that the nematode here is genetically different, and there's some variations in the morphology of the nematode. They're very closely related, but our nematode is the Ibipora lowlii, which has been called the southern sting nematode because we believe that it was introduced to Australia from South or Central America.
Most turf managers spot the symptoms above ground first, before realising the damage has already begun below.
The above ground symptoms is what you'll see first, and for the sting nematode, that gives you the most obvious symptoms of thinning of the turf. It's more susceptible to stress, mainly because of the short root system, so it will wilt more easily, go into drought stress, and turf sward will thin out, get weed infestation, and then when you look below the ground, very obvious shortening of the root system with stubby root tips, because the nematodes feed on the growing points of the roots.
Peter took us onto a playing field to look more closely at nematode damage.
That root there, the kikuyu runner has put down a root. The nematodes has fed on the root tip, and it's basically killed the cells in the root tip. So that means that the root keeps growing, and then it tries to branch out. So you see all these little branches on the side of the root, and then the nematode will go and then feed on those root tips and kill them. So it has that effect where you get this really stunted root system that's shallow and branched like that, compared to this one here, which is a healthy white root. This healthy white root is an example of what it should look like compared to one that's been attacked by the nematode. A darker colour, not as healthy.
Nematodes are a natural part of all turf root zones, many beneficial. However, a small group of plant parasitic nematodes, particularly the southern sting, needle and stubby root nematodes, can severely damage turf grass root systems, making early diagnosis and targeted management essential.